Once we get it in there, I have to just. Yeah, we'll keep an eye out.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Stand for pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trustee Paul.
Here.
Trustee Bismarck.
Here.
Trustee Tetra.
Here.
All right, this meeting will be recorded for informational purposes only. All comments will be taken at the end of the meeting in up to 2 minutes. If any resident has a question or a comment, raise your hand. You will be recognized by the chair. Come to the podium, clearly state your name and address for the record. Multiple speakers at the same time will not be allowed.
Okay, 18919 to accept the meeting minutes from the September 10th, 2019 regular meeting.
I'll second.
Trustee Evans.
Trustee?
Trustee Park.
Yes.
Trustee Webb.
Yes.
Okay, 19019 to accept the meeting minutes from the October 1st, 2019 emergency meeting.
I'll make the move. Motion.
Trustee Evans.
Yes.
Trustee Park.
Yes.
Trustee Webb.
Yes.
19119 19, to authorize the fiscal officer to pay all outstanding invoices and to approve all warrants issued occurred from October 8, 2019 through November 11, 2019.
I will move.
Second?
Trustee Evans?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
19219, to terminate services provided by Discover Benefits LLC for the Township Work Program effective September 1st, 2019.
December 1st, Mr. Chairman.
What?
You said September.
Oh, sorry, December 1st.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
That's a correction.
Trustee Evans?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
19319, to authorize BE Solutions to provide coverage for the Township Work Program effective December 1st, 2019.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Trustee Evans?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes. Question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Who will the fiscal officer be writing the letters to both entities to say we're canceling and we're joining?
I did this one for you guys, but I do not have anything as far as joining. I've been not
Yeah, we don't.
contact.
I think that, being part of the insurance committee,
To notify BE Solutions that
yeah,
we're coming back to
because
them?
you're gonna have to have some documents, to fill out.
Probably, yeah.
If one of you guys want to call him and make sure that they have whatever paperwork we need. And,
Dan, you mean?
yeah,
I'll take it.
thank you. So we got that. Good. Okay, 19419, to accept the quote, $4,141.92 from CDW-G for 6 new computers. 2 computers are for the admin and 4 computers are for the road department.
Question on the motion. We're gonna put 4 computers in the road department? Could I ask the road superintendent?
Mine are all antiquated, and apparently they're not good with 365
Okay.
or whatever it is.
And you have 4 right now, so we're just. replacing
Yeah,
4.
Joel said, I have hand-me-downs from there. So, Joel said that they won't, with the update that's coming or something, they won't function properly.
Okay. I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Evans?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Okay, 19519, to accept the Huntington Bank investment policy statement. See attached. Any questions on that?
No, that was the CDs. No, they send this out every 2 years. And you giving their advice as to what the township should do. And I just a little bit the way that is, because it's.
That's the investment account.
Yes, so that's the investment broker.
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
That's the investment account.
Can they periodically give us a report and advice on what to do with that account?
Yeah, every 2 years.
Okay. I'll move.
I'll second.
Trustee Evans?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Webb?
Yes.
19619, to authorize a transfer of $42,280 from general fund, $1,000 to cemetery fund 2041. And it explains the difference there. Because the difference is from the insurance and some appropriations at the beginning, part of the UAN correction, and Jeannie and Chris figured that out.
So we're taking an additional 42,280 out of the general fund that did not come out at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Jeannie will explain.
I believe Chris budgeted for the appropriation for the cemetery fund, $76,480.
Okay.
Coming across in reports that Chris was looking over, and seems that something, was shorted, it was wrong. Digging into it, we found out that in prior years, the prior fiscal officer would just appropriate $34,200. And obviously just must have told the secretary to put it in a line item and be done. So as we, not knowing that, I was advised that that has to be a resolution in the beginning of the year. It cannot just be thrown as an appropriation. So we already transferred the $34,200. So that is the difference between the appropriated amount of $76,480. So we need to transfer that in. And then once that's in, I will reallocate that into the tornado line item, and that will be the difference between what they've already spent and what's left.
Now, is this for the second claim on our insurance with the,
That's never even come back yet. I know.
you haven't got a check on that yet?
Nope.
This is just from the first.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Lewis?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yeah.
Trustee Webb?
Yes.
Case correspondence, copies are available upon request. Administration reminders, Trumbull County Board election notice, polling locations, trick or treat will be Thursday, October 31st from 6 to 8. You guys do anything for this block?
Not just that.
Okay, fire department?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I'd like to report that we did receive our BWC rate rebate for $47,050.74. This is about a 94% refund on the 2009 BWC rates. We had an open house Saturday, it was pretty successful. We had 100 people. We received a award from Ohio Billing for Fire Prevention Week for the stuff we do for the community. Smoke alarms, block boxes, and everything else we do. So they recognized us for that for Fire Prevention Week. And then I submitted the September 2019 monthly report, and everything else on the agenda is grants that another grant we received and expending last month. The grant was awarded last month. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, 19719, to accept the Department of Homeland Security 2018 Assistant Firefighter Grant as listed below. Take a motion unless you have a question on the grant.
I'll second.
Trustee Lewis?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Webb?
Yes.
Okay, 19819, to authorize the purchase of Lucas 3 chest compression systems from Stryker. The grant information is listed below. Take a motion on that.
I'll make a motion.
Ted,
Second.
Frank?
Trustee Lewis?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Webb?
Yes.
19919, to authorize the purchase of Power Pro XT cot from Stryker. This is a grant also. Everything's listed below. Any questions? I'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Trustee Lewis?
Ted, yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Webb?
Yes.
219, to authorize the purchase of MTS power load from Stryker. Another grant, federal grant is available. Information is listed below. Any questions? No. Routine motion.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Frank?
Trustee Lewis?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Webb?
Yes.
201-19, requesting expenditures to install power load cot system from Myers Equipment. This is also using the federal grant. Any motion on that?
I'll move it.
Question, Frank?
Second.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Paul?
Yes.
Thank you.
A non-agenda item.
Wait, I'd like to back up if I could.
Sure.
Dennis, can you give us a recap of how much are we buying and how much is it going to cost us on the pot system?
Yeah, the costs, are approximately $48,000 when you add the load system and the install of the cot. And then there's $15,000, for the, compression device. That compression device, because we have two ambulances, we do have one, that was given to us free from University Hospital. That is what the same thing that we used on, Nick Mancini, the police officer that was in full arrest. It was our equipment that transported him and saved his life. So all this is giving our second ambulance the exact same thing that our first ambulance has. And then the new grant is with 24 fire departments, a total of $1.5 million. Our share will be $61,000 with a 10% match. Because most of our grants, we get our 5% match. But because it's such a large grant and it's based on population, so when you put everybody together, our population goes up. So that puts us at the 10% mark. But to get $61,000 equipment for $6,000 or $6,100, I'll do it any day of the week. So that'll give us all new radio marks equipment.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Okay, police department.
We have nothing, but the items listed on the agenda, the monthly reports.
Okay. Okay, 2002-19 to accept the 2019 JED LE 5964 grant is listed below for tasers, replacing aging units. Retain a motion unless there's a question.
I'll second.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Yes.
203-19 to accept the Ohio Attorney General Office Law Enforcement Body Armor Program for 5 new bulletproof vests. With the grand total is $4,409, 75% and 25% is the matching funds. Retain a motion. Ed?
Motion.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Webb?
Yes.
Okay, 204-19 to accept the 2019 Walmart grant, 577-22867 in the amount of $3,000. This will be to reinstate the shop with the COP fireman program.
Second.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Webb?
Yes.
Report. Road superintendent, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just like to let you all to know that Beaver Trail is done. I'm sure that the county's calculating what our final payment is going to be pretty soon. We've dug our foundations for the cemetery, and now I'm going to need some salt apparently from there. So don't want it, but gotta get some. That's all I have.
Chris, is this price per salt ton any more than last year?
Yes, it is. It's about $12 more per ton. Through the co-op, through Trumbull County, they did not have a winter fill this year. I kind of was hoping they would, but we're not gonna see that apparently. Let's see.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right. Okay, 205-19 to authorize the purchase of 300 tons of salt from Trumbull County Engineers at $69.60 per ton. Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Webb?
Yes.
You guys covered that the park closed November 1st
Oh,
already?
yeah. Park closes November 1st, probably in the morning, so I'll let the park manager know also.
Okay.
Are they going to close the gate back there?
Probably not. They like the duck hunters to get back through there. But after duck season, they'll probably close it up like they did last year.
planning director, zoning inspector, and code enforcement officer, Pete.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, let me apologize for being late. Got tied up a little bit at work. Sorry, my face, that was on my wife, that was actually because of steel hit me. So, had 8 permits issued this past month of September. Fees collected were $1,395 to the fiscal officer. First of October, the 2nd through the 4th, I attended the American Planners Association, it's a zoning and planning conference in Cleveland, Ohio. There were some good takeaways. Some of it was really not relevant to what townships do. But it pulled away some good information as far as law updates and what we can and cannot do. A little bit more information for us. There are 2 new complaints letters went out to the houses on Howland Wilson that we spoke on. One is actually owned by the bank and one is a private owner. I'll follow up on those after they've been given the appropriate time. Dollar General is moving forward with their plans. I just issued a sign permit. They have no real time frame yet. They're still in the engineering phase as far as the building plans before they go to the county building department. During a routine inspection on a follow-up on a permit, I discovered that the building that was initially permitted as an ag building has living quarters in it. I spoke to the owner. They have to come in now and obtain a regular zoning permit for this building and pay the fees as required. The zoning commission has a meeting, zoning board, next Monday, I believe, just the quarterly meeting, next Tuesday during my hours, actually, was the only, for the last Tuesday of the month. 29th. Correct. At 6 o'clock. And that's so we'll get the notice in the paper. Paul, I believe both pods are going off the street now, aren't they?
I believe so. At least one has.
Both of them, I believe, should be gone by now. So that's all I have. That's everything for you. Thank you.
Question on the house or the garage, you said it was ag. How long ago was that?
I permitted it last year.
Oh, so
And then
is there a time frame on when we can, how far you can go back?
As soon as it stops being used as an ag building, if it's permitted as an ag building and they stop using it as such, then they have to actually have a regular permit for it. It's still in the construction phase, so it's not even done. A neighbor had complained about other things there, so I did a site inspection on it. It's not a barn or a garage. It's got a 2-story living quarters within it. It's a house with a big garage attached to it.
I was just curious. Thank you. Okay, Park and Recreation Board.
Can you go ahead and read this and give us the answer, and then I'll have questions for you after.
Meeting minutes from September 17th. Recommendation to use general funds money to pay for S-book closure tools for park. Road superintendent to supply quotes. Is that quote in here?
No,
No, I haven't had a chance to finish it up yet.
Okay, and then recommendation to use general funds money to pay for the following materials and labor: handrails, ballast hammers, sand and seal all exposure framing, route edges. Pretty much a lot of this stuff listed is what the
paid by design.
Paid by design recommended. And also, I believe some of this was part of the insurance.
KLA.
KLA on the risk management side.
Yeah, it was, yeah, both.
So,
We're asking, what we're asking for is we need the road department or the guys that work at the park, they have to do the S hooks and they have to be, so right now they're using channel locks. There is a tool for it. And the channel locks are either twisting it but they can't be any further apart than a credit card going in. That's a safety hazard, and by both the insurance company and Play by Design. We also understand Play by Design is a sales company, but the insurance company too. Well, if there's a tool out there, why are we using channel locks? We looked up the price of the tool, and I think it was less than $300. So we asking since it's going to be the township's tool, we're asking it to come out of the general fund or the maintenance part of the park board. And we're not sure, when we make money, it's for, if our line item says improvements. Improvement site, improvement of sites. So, we look at, the responsibility to be out of the general fund, for the, maintenance on the, Imagination Station. So we don't know where we stand. Are we here for improving the park or what? That is our question. That's what we're here for.
Pretty much, I don't know, I'll open it up to you guys got an opinion on this? As far as I'm saying, it's part of the maintenance of the park. When you guys have the fundraisers, how are they advertised? Is it just safe
Well,
maintenance?
before we were advertising because we were paying to keep the park open. And now the general fund took that back, or the trustees took that part back. So now we're advertising improvement because we would like to do some improvements. There's some of the Imagination Station that we have to remove. But we have to add something because if we don't add something, that to me, that's an improvement. Yeah, that's an improvement. But like the pressure washing, the sealing, I mean, you know, the seal, I don't mean ceiling, seal, the adding of the balusters that we have to fix for safety. We think that's maintenance. I mean, that's how I look at it. So, I mean, the board looks at it. So we don't know where we stand because we know we have to get it up to safety standards. I mean, it's the park is in wonderful condition. Safety rules has changed. And there's a few things we want to remove because we can't keep them. Chris, tell them about that thing that they walk on that almost touches the ground and the chain keeps getting longer. Well, that we'd like to remove because what's happening, I mean, I can show you a picture. What's they're afraid of is a kid will fall there and get choked. So we want to remove that and add something different. We wanted to add, if you've been to the state park, they have like they walk on different things. And the conveyor belt that's ripped off. We'd like to remove that and just put round. Now, I think that's an improvement. I think that's all. But to keep fixing those chains that keep getting too long, I mean, that happens often. You fix that how many times?
Almost every time.
We'd like to remove that. We don't have a problem putting in like those mesh things that they climb on.
Cargo net.
Yeah, the cargo net. And we have to remove, for safety reasons, the zip line. Because in the day, they didn't have to have brakes on.
There's like 21 things that are like.
So we thought we'd put a rock wall up there. They're plastic, you know what I'm talking about, for kids. So we're asking the park, the trustees out of the general fund to do the maintenance as the sealing, the pressure washing, the sealing. We'd like to work on also improving, maybe put some water and electric over there at the big gazebo. And then you could rent that out probably more and stuff like that. That to me is improvements, but we're asking the trustees to put a little cash in for maintenance, little more cash than mowing the lawn and the weekly stuff the boys have to do.
I
The men.
think we'd have to have a cost factor.
Yeah, I got started on it and, I figured about 160 hours of labor. And I had the guy that, better carpenter than me, go back and kind of put an hour per item kind of thing. And I left myself a little bit of slack on that, but it's about 160. And then I kind of, do we want to make this thing last for 10 years more? I mean, do we go with stainless steel chains and stainless steel hardware? We didn't go that route the last time, and here we are again, changing out chains and coverings one more time. Or do we just go the cheapest route and get the smaller commercial hardware with plastic covering? That's probably not gonna last.
How long do you think those chains last? I mean, the wood part
I
of
think the last time we did it was about 5 years ago,
yeah, see that?
and it wasn't cheap. All winter long, I mean, we kind of redid chains and stuff and
Mhm.
coverings and piping and all that, but there's a lot more structure to this round of having to fix stuff. Plus, we need a whole nother load of mulch.
Yeah.
Which is about, I believe, $1,200 was the last time we bought it. And that you can only get 100 yards.
Yeah, 12 or 14, we got the bill.
Okay, but yeah, it's just a lot more encompassing than, just, and Fastenal's out of business now down the road, or I was taking my list down to them. Fastenal,
No, they're right there by Packard. They built a brand new building.
oh, okay, yeah, I went down there and they were out of business, there's a brewery in there.
Yeah, her son.
My nephew lives there.
Okay, I'll take my list down there, I just went down to the building they were always at, and they were
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
You went down
The park board really don't know what their responsibility is, and we sort of need to know.
Nationwide hardware in Portland, it's on South Avenue. Fastenal is very expensive for hardware. And I buy
Everywhere is
boxes of
expensive.
Nationwide is not the insurance company, it's right by Matthews, it's right where Matthews Road is.
Nationwide hardware on South Avenue.
Yeah, it's a wholesale place. They carry a lot of things. They're a nationwide company. They're much more cost effective than Fastenal, Home Depot, or.
I mean, I had enough time to kind of go through Amazon and get a few prices, just the amount of quarter-inch stainless steel chain that we needed was like $471. So, I mean, to me, that seems pretty expensive.
So I think that, what you're asking for is you want the trustees to pay for the S-books and the sanding and the sealing. You guys, if it needs mulch next year, are gonna put that in your budget and submit.
We can put that in our budget if you want to come through with the S-hooks and the chains.
Yeah, well,
And
I
if
think-
we can do away with some of that chain that, that's kind
I
of,
think
It gives
there's
us
some that we can tighten up. I've already made a bunch of notes on it. I apologize. I haven't with the paving and everything else.
I knew the boys were over there. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's just.
So I think what we should have is, we need to get pricing from Chris on, and maybe a list for you guys on what your plan is, and then at our next meeting, if he's gonna be closing the park anyway.
Yeah, this is for us to get
Yeah.
going for next spring, so we can get them in there and pressure wash and seal it before we add the mulch,
I did take a lot of inventory over there of all the miscellaneous stuff and the balusters and stuff. We still have a lot of that wood over there. So outside of hardware, I think it'll be a minimal cost and outside of labor. Labor and hardware, that's gonna cost. But I'll try.
Can you get some
I
prices,
will.
so the next meeting
I've got to
we'll
have
have better.
I haven't had a chance to finish.
Will you, you need, get it on the S-hook tool too,
Okay.
because of, there's no sense using channel locks, it's ridiculous. That's ridiculous when they have a tool that's gonna do it right.
Yeah, and it takes a while too, apparently.
I want a mixer when I make a cake, you can. Okay, so you'll get back with I'll try to get it, so I'm not gonna
When I really got up and went to answer my phone, it was Ryan calling me back. He is going to send to the trustees of Bazetta. We never received it, so he's gonna resend it.
Right, oh, the boy,
Yes.
okay, and
So he
he's,
called me back.
okay,
A while back, it come to me that we did not thank Pharaoh for the money that they gave us, the $17,000. Did we or did we not write them a letter of thank you?
I thought the park board did that.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I thought.
Well, I thought we talked about it.
Oh, the trustees? Well, I thought Laura, I will text her and ask her, but I thought the park board sent Cafaro a thank you. I thought we did, all of them together, we did, there was, we did the church, we did,
I thought so too, but
right here.
Shortly,
Yeah.
they did the GoFundMe.
Because they did the GoFundMe. I thought I'll text her, I got a lot of messages.
yeah, because if we didn't, shame on us.
Yeah, but I thought, because you had been at the meetings,
Yeah,
because that was, well, that's a long time ago, because Steve was here. But I thought Laura did that. I thought she made up special thank yous.
I know Andrea was doing something too. There was something that she was,
Oh, maybe it was Andrew.
I can't remember which one, but there was some
Well,
discussion.
usually Laura is the treasurer. Yeah, but it could be Andrea too.
Thank you.
I will text them and find out, and if not, we'll have to eat some crow and do something good. Okay. But I'll probably do.
Okay, so Chris will get us prices on that, we'll have that for the next meeting. The other thing is, I didn't read the minutes from, the meeting that I missed. Did you guys, look at revisiting the Wilshire project
No,
discussion?
not the previous meeting, no.
Okay. So,
No, it works. I didn't.
well, let's wait until after the 30th. We'll do the bid packet, and even if we need to advertise that, it'll give you some time to meet Jeannie. As well. Okay. Okay, nobody asked to be placed on the agenda, so we'll open up for public comment.
Matthew Lula, 2325 Wilshire Drive. My first question is, you briefly mentioned Wilshire. Have you guys had any further discussion on that? Because at the last meeting, that motion died for lack of motion.
Yeah, I wasn't here for that meeting, so,
So have you guys discussed it further since then?
This is our first meeting since then.
yeah.
Okay, the next question is that for budgetary reasons, you said that you couldn't go through with Wilshire at the time because you were waiting for everything to come back with the cemetery. And Mr. Webb said that you have to carry over 25%. So I guess my question is, do you have to carry over 25% of what you're expected to bring in for 2019? Or what you started the year with in 2019, or what your projected revenues are for 2020?
I believe it's projected for 2020 based on what we did in 2019,
What you're gonna bring in for 2019?
what we spent. We have to have enough money. in
Right.
for what
So
we spent.
so that answers that question, thank you. So as of September 17th, 2019, there was $575,517.30 net cold cash in the general fund. If you look at like the final appropriations for the year and what you've already spent year to date, that would leave $223,204.05 after you add in the 25% that you carry over to 2020. And so you were arguing that there isn't enough money because you haven't got the bids back for the cemetery yet, plus what you have to carry over. So if you subtract what you have to carry over and year-to-date expenses that you still haven't paid, that leaves you $223,000. So how much are you expected to spend out of the general fund minus what you're transferring, 42,000 for the cemetery project?
The cemetery project is not fully funded. We don't know what that amount's gonna be.
You got 110,000 from the
We
insurance
spent about 35 of that.
on the equipment, I do know that. And you're transferring another 42.
That came out of the general fund. That
Right.
didn't come out of any insurance, so now the
I know.
general fund is less.
Right, so if you subtract that 42, that still leaves you over $200,000. So you're expecting to spend more than $200,000 in the cemetery?
Can't tell you that until we get the bid packets back.
The 30.
What were the estimates from the engineer?
110 is an estimate.
Okay. So that would still leave you enough money to at least do part of the Wilshire project, would it not?
Yes, it would, but you've got to look at the big picture in the township. That's what's remaining out of what we call the inheritance money. That at one point was over $800,000 of that. Once that money's gone, that 220,000, we're flying on a shoestring here.
So in 2018, you started the year with $508,000, 877.51. And the total balance at one point in 2018 was 888,000. And you spent 401, which you started the year with 487,000 this year. That's what you started with. That was as of January 3rd, 2019. Plus the revenues you brought in, minus the year-to-date expenses and all that. So the money is there.
For now, yeah, but we have one culvert go down. Where do we get the $100,000?
But you're still expected to bring in over $180,000 for 2019.
It takes a lot more than $180,000.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that, but there's still money that's gonna come in, correct?
Yeah, there's going to be money coming in from various entities. There'll be the property taxes, which this year looks like we're going to get maybe 85%. I mean, the last number I saw on the second half was a bit lower than what we anticipated.
Yeah, you're still expected to bring in another $130,179.22
For this year.
2019. You brought in $261,853, or $853.13.
We didn't get them all, but
What's that?
with the numbers that you're providing there, and I kind of agree with you because the numbers that I looked at, that's why I want to get with the fiscal officer to go over the numbers.
These were provided from the fiscal officer.
So I understand that, but I wasn't here when they talked about this.
Right,
Because I think the Wilshire project, the money is there and it should be done, but it takes the board to sit down and put hard numbers together and understand exactly where we're going to be with the cemetery.
right.
We still have another claim that money's going to be coming in for the cemetery as well. So until next time. I believe, Chris, I asked you before, even if we wait until the end of this month, the possibility is still may get done this year, it may be next year.
Okay,
Based on weather. But after we open the bids up on October 30th, then we'll have a better idea, and that'll give you time to meet with
of what the
Jeannie to come up
cemetery
with the
costs.
numbers that I have versus what she has.
Right,
Not only does this board of trustees have to decide on it, but then the fiscal officer has to certify the funds are available.
right,
So it's a process.
I know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Bob.
Well, we could still, like I said, about that $5 license plate fee tax, you guys should look at doing that for even next year. If you put it to the voters, and they want to add that to their, and that would be, I think it'd be fair to everybody, even if you don't, we've
We've done it in the past.
okay. we could do that.
What is that?
It generates about $7,500 a year,
As a-
7,500.
Yeah, I think $5 I told was the most you could put out.
Actually, we can throw another one on, but we were asking for levies and things,
Yeah,
so we didn't want
I mean, you put the voters out.
to. Actually, there was another $5 I think we could have added to it, was county, and it wouldn't have been put to the vote, but we were asking for a levy, so we were kind of
Yeah.
shut down with that.
Okay,
If I remember right,
okay. And,
could be wrong.
there was, to my knowledge, I talked to someone who was like right next to Mr. Cafaro, and there was never no thank you ever sent. Okay? He didn't get nothing, just to let you know. That's what I was told. When was the last time it was launched? Was that last year? 2 years ago? It's been
2 years ago.
Okay. Okay. Jeannie, right? Okay. Do they have does the park have their own separate, like, checking account that you, like, everything's all in one?
We only have one primary checking account in the township.
Okay. Would it be possible to put them separate so we always know what they have?
So we have line items,
Okay.
within the general fund that
Okay.
is for just the park board.
So you know all the time, like, how much do they have in there right now, roughly, you know?
They have roughly about 26,000, maybe a little bit more.
So it's pretty easy for them to know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have,
So someone mentioned to me, they said, well, that, that they don't know what they have in there, so.
No, there was a resolution passed with a
Well,
separate
that's what I
line,
thought.
separate
Yeah.
line item
Yeah.
for their fundraising.
Right,
money.
yeah, that's what I thought too,
Yes.
and I didn't, I didn't, Chris, you guys need four computers?
They asked me,
I'm just curious.
how many do I need
Yeah,
in order to have one for every guy? Yes.
okay.
And trust me, it kills me. I don't like mine.
Yeah, well, I didn't, I
I
just don't,
just got
I
a
don't
brand
know
new
your
used one
department,
from
you
the
know?
PD too.
Yeah,
so
I didn't know what you guys did with them, that's why I didn't.
No, it's just payroll and email and cemetery
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, okay. All right, that's good. Okay, and the last one is for debts.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to tell you, I went to the open house and your fireman Hanson, he was very, very good. Okay, he was very, very good with me and Terry and showing us stuff. And I wanted that to be made, and pass that on. He was very good. He seemed like a fine young man.
One of my best.
Okay. Other than that, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment, Paul?
Yes. Paul Carlson, Lake Shore Drive. It was referenced in passing just a few minutes ago about the inheritance fund, and I think it's fairly common knowledge that we've been subsidizing the general fund budget for several years through the inheritance monies. Last Monday evening, the candidates forum, I asked the three candidates whether they would endorse a resolution at the January 2020 meeting to bring about a balanced budget during the course of that 4-year term. The three candidates for the seat that is open all answered in the affirmative that they would endorse a balanced budget resolution. My question today is to the seated trustees, Trustee Park, Trustee Webb, would you also support a balanced budget resolution effective 2020 to be completed at the end of that 4-year term?
I would support it, but by doing that, Mr. Carlson, there's going to have to be some painful cuts.
Understood.
We're supporting the park, we're supporting the cemetery, we're supporting well, he's doing a pretty good job in zoning right now. So,
He's making his money.
yeah. But those are the kind of things that,
We have 4 years.
well, not only that, but rotating projects. If it's going to be funded out of the general fund, the local matches for different things that would be coming out of the general fund. It would be, right now, I believe the other three departments are doing okay.
Only references
It's a general fund, and that's where we're having problems.
Yes.
Our biggest problem, biggest concern right now is nobody in Bazetta Township is paying any additional taxes into the general fund. So when you pay for nothing and you expect something, you're not gonna get it. I mean, that's the simplest way I can tell.
Yeah, I'm for it. I mean, we'll have to make some cuts. Gonna be a few people get laid off probably, but all right, that's the only way you're gonna balance. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Chuck Jacobs, 3083 Fallon Drive. Just talk about paving, I'm sure you guys are sick of talking about that. Beaver Trail looks great. Just don't forget about Fallon Drive. I drove down Wilshire and the Ivy Circle is bad. I'll admit that. I know there's only so many dollars, so I'm not gonna insult anybody.
Actually, we did go for issue one project. I thought the general fund was gonna fund Wilshire Drive. So I went ahead at the beginning of this year and submitted Fallon Drive for issue one. We just got our preliminary points back and we're sitting pretty good. We're actually at 50 points going into it. Usually, there's a lot of 30s in there and 40s, and it's all graded according to median household incomes, credit accounts, useful life. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that they grade everything on. And yeah, we got in and we put a little more local because of the gas tax money. And I put a little more local share with that. And I think we've got a pretty good chance of hitting it. I think the last road that the general fund did was Millennium Boulevard, actually. Everything else, is that right, Paul?
I'm thinking,
For local, because I know Beaver Trail is coming out of the road budget. Yeah. I did, this is, yeah, Millennium Boulevard, that was, local. Could have been, I think I covered the portion of, McClear Jacoby, so, yeah. I did Red Fox Run, 2013 Prince Drive.
I was gonna say.
Or Millennium 15.
Sterling and Prince, wasn't that both out of general fund?
Sterling was 12, it's going back further. But
So is there any way to project when you think it will be done?
if I win the project, hopefully next year, we won Beaver Trail in 18, but it was a bubble project. So it didn't, a bubble project means that I was right on the threshold of either winning it or losing it. And they fund all the projects up to a certain point level. And then anything that comes in under, that money trickles down to the bubble projects in a specific order. So, yeah, that's why we didn't get it paid last year, and that's why it was paid this year.
And just one other comment about that. My property backs up against my client's board, and I have a drain problem. My drain in front, and you're nodding, you probably know what I'm talking about. There's a drain roughly every other house.
Okay.
Mine goes across the cul-de-sac. When I get a moderate to heavy rain, my front yard floods.
You live at the end?
Right, the very end. You've been out there a couple times.
Yeah, that's,
Didn't we had the city, somebody
I-
wanted to come
I've
out
had
and
the-
flush that out.
I had the city out there a couple times.
Was that US?
Yeah.
I can't recall.
Yeah.
It's still flooding now on the right hand, it doesn't. But the reason I bring it up, if we are going to pay, I think there is a pipe that's either cracked, crushed, something.
That pipe was relocated when they built that house.
They moved it.
That was moved, it used to go straight back to the creek right through where your house is. And then they diverted it down to the catch basin and then kind of in between the houses. That's when we started kind of having problems with that. So
Okay, but it was my understanding that it flows from my house south.
No, that goes to the creek. Yeah, that goes to the north right there. Yeah. That should all drain out the back of the creek towards 5.
Where does everybody else's go? Back to-
Towards yours. And then
So I collect everybody's.
you collect everybody's and then it goes beside the house to the back.
So what can we do about fixing it? It's getting worse, so something is.
Yeah, the only thing that I can do is fix whatever's in the road right away. Legally, I mean, that's all the township can do, as far as.
We might, talk to Steve and see if we can get the county to come in there maybe and help us out.
See if we can flush it again, or.
Yeah.
I honestly.
Do you have a camera? Do you have a camera, Steve, that we can camera that?
Sanitary.
When we did it the last time, didn't that help you for a while?
Right, actually, it happened,
I thought
I
we
mean,
got
there,
it.
12 years ago, good to go. Then it happened, 3 years
I was
ago,
out
good to
there
go. Now
last
it's been
time,
like,
and we had the best success the last time that we ever had trying to flush that out.
If
It
you live
does
in
need
the straight
camera.
back, that, when they built your house, they moved the tile.
Right.
Because I remember that, because that's what I said, they were gonna dig that basement, they're gonna dig right through that tile, but they moved it.
Right. I'll see
Can
if
you
I
guys
can,
get a hold of the county and see if they can
I'll see if I can get a
camera down
hold
through there?
of someone
Flush.
to camera it, yeah.
what happened before, it wasn't going down, it sat there for 24 hours, it didn't drain at all. Now it floods, and then 6 hours later, it's draining, so it is draining somewhat. And it was just cleaned out, I think, a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Last year, 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago.
A year, it might have been both years.
Some of that
Yeah,
stuff.
because
before you leave, let me get your name and number.
Chris, that was when we had 5 catch basins or something down there. We used to have tubes or somebody go in there and suck.
Well, I had 25 clean a year for a while there, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a portion of it.
Yeah.
See, what happens down there, it's kind of weird, the ground, like, it has like this, it looks like a muddy clay, but it's actually like a calcium deposit gets in there. And it's like stone sometimes, and it is hard to bust it on there. And I guess the only way to replace it is to replace it, to fix it right. But let's camera that thing, and that may take me a little while to.
A lot of the big problem is too back there, because I have the same problem in my business there. We get a good 3-4 inch rain. I had 4 inches of water in my front office because the big handle was there. I always said every time a developer builds something, they should make them engineer it. But they make them put in whatever size pipe is necessary at that time. But I get flooded all the time in my place, and I actually paid $1,000 to Dukes to come out and run a flush down all my drains to make sure they're all sucked out. They go, there's nothing in them. And it's just like,
See, I have the same problem down at the hardwood shop. You know, Pam's acid and salt for her, you know, she had the same calcium deposit and stuff.
Timber Creek is notorious for the calcium down there.
Yeah.
It actually goes up in the pipe.
Well, to be clear, you're saying is that township is not responsible for that?
Not for anything out of the right of way. And the right of way is 18 feet from the road edge down. I turfed down into the creek.
So who was responsible for it?
Well, we have big holes up in the heights right now, and they thought it was the homeowners, but it turned out to be a special assessment district for drainage. So I don't believe that there's any districts down in the old part of Timber Creek. The only one that I know of in the whole township is up in the heights. So, I guess what I'm saying is it's either gonna be a homeowner or B, this board can maybe, change some things. I don't know. The last time I was down there, I didn't walk out back and everything. I walked back. Yeah, it's just kind of all even back there. That's kind of the bad thing. But let me get your name and number, if you don't mind. I will get back with you. And kind of get that thing. Trust me, I do try to go out of my way to help folks.
Oh, every time Every time I call, it's what?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, any other public comment? Okay, 20619, motion to adjourn the meeting at 5:57.
I'll second.
Trustee Evans?
Yes.
Trustee Clark? Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
They want a number.
To see what they might need to help with. Okay, that's good. So you guys will go back to your board and go over that?
Yeah, they'll do that. I think the road department will give them a price.
Oh.
And then they'll come back to us and say, you know, we don't know what our responsibility is.
Okay.
We want to.
Thanks very much.